Today we are going to read a book called Scardey Squirrel. Scardey Squirrel. That word scaredy, what does that make you think of? Let's think. Do you think that means he's happy? He's really excited? No, probably not. Scared. Scared means to be a little afraid and to be not quite sure about what's going on. And to be scared is one of those big emotions that we've been talking about. Is it okay to feel scared, friends? Yeah, it's okay to feel scared. It's important to know what it feels like to be scared so that when you are scared, you can tell someone that you're feeling not that great and you're feeling a little bit scared. So this book is about a squirrel who's very scared of everything that's outside of his tree. And what we're going to do after we read this book is we're going to identify the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story. And Miss Corinne has printed out some pictures from the story, and we're going to put them in order to kind of help us retell the story. So, this book is called Scardey Squirrel by Melanie Watt. It says, warning, Scardey Squirrel insists that everyone wash their hands with antibacterial soap before reading this book. Scardey Squirrel never leaves his nut tree. It says the unknown. He'd rather stay in his safe and familiar tree than risk venturing out into the unknown. The unknown can be a scary place for a squirrel. A few things Scardey Squirrel is afraid of. Tarantulas, poison ivy, green Martians, killer bees, germs, and sharks. Friends, do you think he's going to have any sharks near his house? Probably not, because where do you think Scardey Squirrel lives? In the ocean? No, we already know he lives in a tree, and there are no sharks near trees. That's so silly. Silly Scardey Squirrel. So, he's perfectly happy to stay right where he is. Advantages of never leaving the nut tree. Great view, plenty of nuts. Safe place, no tarantulas, poison ivy, Martians, killer bees, germs, or sharks. Disadvantages of never leaving the nut tree. Same old view, same old nuts, same old place. Monday, he's in his tree. Tuesday, he's in his tree. Wednesday, he looks out of his tree, but he's still in his tree. Thursday, looks out of his tree from the other side. Friday, in his tree, in his tree, in his tree. So he spends his entire week inside his tree. In Scardey Squirrel's nut tree, every day is the same. Everything is predictable. All is under control. Scardey Squirrel's daily routine. 6:45 a.m., wake up. 7 a.m., eat a nut. 7:15 a.m., look at the view. 12 noon, eat a nut. 12:30 p.m., look at view. 5 p.m., eat a nut. 5:31, look at view. 8 p.m., go to sleep. Does that sound like a very fun and adventurous day? Seems like he's just doing the same thing over and over and over again. But let's say, just for example, that something unexpected did happen. You can rest assured that this squirrel is prepared. What do you think's in that box, guys? Let's think. Maybe it's some stuff to help him in case something happens and some emergency supplies like a first aid kit. Maybe. That's a good idea. A few items in Scardey Squirrel's emergency kit. Parachute, bug spray, mask and rubber gloves, hard hat, antibacterial soap, calamine lotion, net, Band-Aid, and sardines. Sardines are a type of fish. What to do in case of an emergency, according to Scardey Squirrel. Step 1, panic. Step 2, run. Step 3, get kit. Step 4, put on kit. Step 5, consult exit plan. Step 6, exit tree. If there's absolutely, definitely, truly no other option. Exit plan, top secret. Exit 1, note to self. Watch out for green Martians and killer bees in the sky. Exit 2, note to self. Do not land in river. If unavoidable, use sardines to distract sharks. Are there sharks in rivers? No. Silly Scardey Squirrel. Exit 3, note to self. Look out for poison ivy and for tarantulas roaming the ground. Exit 4, note to self. Keep in mind that germs are everywhere. With his emergency kit in hand, Scardey Squirrel watches day after day. He watches until one day, Thursday, 9:37 a.m. What do you see in his glasses, friends? What are those? Those are bees. Do you think he's feeling afraid because there's bees and he's really afraid of killer bees? Probably so. A killer bee appears! Scardey Squirrel jumps in panic, knocking his emergency kit out of the tree. This was not part of the plan. Scardey Squirrel jumps to catch his kit. He quickly regrets this idea. The parachute is in the kit, but something incredible happens. When he jumps to go get his kit, what happens? Is he still in his tree? No, he starts to fall out of his tree. Let's see what happens next. He starts to glide. Scardey Squirrel is no ordinary squirrel. He's a flying squirrel. He feels overjoyed, adventurous, carefree, alive. Scardey Squirrel forgets all about the killer bee, not to mention the tarantulas, poison ivy, green Martians, germs, and sharks, until he lands in a bush. And plays dead. 30 minutes later, 1 hour later, 2 hours later. Finally, Scardey Squirrel realizes that nothing horrible is happening in the unknown today. So he returns to his nut tree. All this excitement has inspired Scardey Squirrel to make drastic changes to his life. Scardey Squirrel's new and improved daily routine. 6:45 a.m. Wake up. 7 a.m. Eat a nut. 7:15 a.m. Look at view. 9:37 a.m. Jump into the unknown. 9:45 a.m. Play dead. 11:45 a.m. Return home. 12 noon. Eat a nut. 12:30 p.m. Look at view. 5 p.m. Eat a nut. 5:31. Look at view. 8 p.m. Go to sleep. P.S. As for the emergency kit, Scardey Squirrel is in no hurry to pick it up just yet. What do you guys, where's the emergency kit? It's in poison ivy. So do you think he's going to go back and get it? Probably not, because he is afraid. The end. Okie dokie, friends. What a great book is that. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to identify the beginning of the story. So beginning means the first thing that happens. So what is the first thing that happens in the story? Let's think. Can I hear your ideas? Good idea. I think you got it. So, the first thing that happens in the story is we meet Scardey Squirrel. And he lives where? Where does he live? In his nut tree. That's exactly right. So we're going to take this picture of Scardey Squirrel in his nut tree, and we're going to put it under the word beginning. So in the beginning of the story, we meet Scardey Squirrel, who lives in his nut tree. Okay, so that's what we learned in the beginning. What happens next? Let's think. Let's look at our pictures to help us. Does he realize the outside is not so scary? Is that the thing that happens next? No, something else has to happen so that he can realize that the outside isn't so scary. Let's see what our next picture is. Oh, it's a picture of Scardey Squirrel. What do you see in this picture, friends? What is happening? Oh, that's right. He's falling out of his tree. How do you think he felt when he was falling out of his tree? Probably like he normally does, probably pretty scared. So in the middle, he falls out of his tree to try and catch his emergency kit after seeing some killer bees. So in the beginning, we meet Scardey Squirrel, who lives in his nut tree. Halfway through the book, in the middle, we learn that Scardey Squirrel falls out of his tree trying to catch his emergency kit. And the last thing we know is we find out that Scardey Squirrel, is he just a normal squirrel? No. Scardey Squirrel is a flying squirrel. And he flies and he lands in a bush. And he learns through being in that bush that the outside isn't scary because nothing comes and gets him. So in the end, Scardey Squirrel learns that the outside is not so scary after all. So once again, we just talked about the beginning, middle, and end of the book, Scardey Squirrel. What I want you to do with your families at home is I want you to find a book in your house and read it with your mom or your dad or your older sibling if they know how to read. And I want you to try and identify the beginning, middle, and end of that story.